to another Marvel class. Today, the much anticipated Iron Man 101. So sit down, stick around, and enjoy. As we start off any 101 class, Iron Man's first appearance is in 1963 in Tales of Suspense number 39, in which the world first lay eyes on the invincible Iron Man. What happens, or what Iron Man is all about, it's about an individual called Anthony or Tony Stark. Basically, Tony's dad was the head of Stark Industries, which is a company that deals in military force and designing military weapons. Stark's parents die in a car crash when he's 15 years old, so he inherits the company. He'll go on to design all kinds of stuff for the army, and he'll even design what's called a repulsor ray. It kind of repulses, it's kind of like a reverse magnet. It'll reversely take something, instead of drawing it like a magnet does, it'll push away metal, which is used basically to unarm people and stuff like that. So he goes over to the Vietnam War in order to see his technology firsthand, like in the battlefield, see if it actually works. He's in the battlefield. He trips on a booby trap. It explodes, and he's caught by the enemy. Upon being caught by the enemy, he learns that he has shrapnel all over his body, inside of his veins. And what's happening is that the shrapnel is getting closer and closer to his heart, not giving him much time to live, because once the shrapnel gets to his heart, he's going to die. So what the enemy offers him, the people who have him captive, they say, design us weapons and we'll do an operation on you to save your life. Now, Tony knows that it's impossible for them to save his life because he thinks they would have done it by now. So what he does, he says, okay, give me the materials, I'll help you guys out. But what he really does is he builds the Iron Man costume as a means to help him live and escape these people. So he builds the costume and actually incorporates that technology to repulse the little fragments of shrapnel away from his heart. So as long as he has the suit on, or part of the suit on, he can stay alive. So he breaks free, gets rid of all his enemies in that part of Vietnam, comes back to America, and basically becomes a superhero known as Iron Man. He always has to wear part of the suit, the chest plate, in order to keep the shrapnel away from his heart, because there's no other way that he can be operated on at this point to save him. He'll start off in the dull gray suit, and then one of his many girlfriends actually talks to him about Iron Man, and says that the reason why people are actually afraid of him, like even common people, common folks he's trying to save are afraid of him, is because of the dull suit color, the gray. It looks menacing. So what he does, he paints it gold. So that's the first time we see gold used on the Iron Man costume, and that's the issue right after his first appearance here in issue 39. It's actually issue 40, Tales of Suspense number 40. So what we know about Iron Man at this point is that he is a very wealthy individual. He's kind of like the Batman version, kind of like Batman for the Marvel Universe, because the guy, first of all, he's a billionaire, he's a playboy, you know what I mean? He gets all the women, he has all kinds of different women, you know what I mean? And he's actually a superhero that doesn't have any superpowers, per se. Everything's done through his combat skill and through the suit. It's kind of like Batman. Batman's the same way. It's Bruce Wayne, multi-millionaire, you know what I mean? All the women want him, but he's not really he's a hero, but he's not like any superpower, not a superhero. And another thing, I mean, Bruce Wayne leads the Justice League of America, and Iron Man leads the Avengers, which is the Marvel group of superheroes. So it's kind of interesting to have those similarities between the two. Tony Stark, Iron Man, has one big bane, and it's alcohol. He has problems with alcoholism, and this will cause him to lose control of himself and lose control of even his company a few times. During these times, he's called on some friends, such as Rhodey Rhodes, who was a pilot in Vietnam, to help him out, to take the mantle of Iron Man. But he actually takes a mantle of his own, which is War Machine. So the War Machine costume isn't actually one that Tony Stark wears now. It's one that Rhodey Rhodes wears. and he became the War Machine. And actually, we'll go through the costumes a little later on in this video. Also, he will lose control of the Stark Enterprises to Obadiah Stane. And Obadiah Stane will become the Ironmonger, which is actually another version of Iron Man, another suit. A bigger, more menacing suit. You'll see this character is actually Iron Man's main villain in the movie, so you'll see him in there, Obadiah Stane. We'll see other villains later on too. We'll see the Mandarin. We'll see a bunch of other villains which have become key staples to the Iron Man universe. Most of them, though, are just villains from other Marvel series. Most notably, always are the Ironmonger and especially Mandarin as the big villains of Iron Man. In Tales of Suspense number 48, we actually see the first appearance of Iron Man, drawn by Steve Ditko, in which he has the red and gold armor, which is probably the most famous armor, and it's the armor that he had in his ongoing series, and the armor that most everybody is most familiar with. In the beginning of the comic book, actually, the only two people who knew of Tony Stark's dual identity were Rhodey Rhodes, who is the War Machine, and also his secretary, to which he's really fond of, and she's Pepper Potts. It's always been an interesting kind of relationship between the two. Since he's the playboy type and all that, it never really worked out, but he really does care for her. And hopefully in the movie, it'll evolve a bit into that. We'll see a little bit of that in there too. Later on, though, in later issues, like more recent, Iron Man's going to reveal his identity to the world. So Tony Stark is a huge, important character in the Marvel Universe. He is probably the top guy in the Marvel Universe. I'm not saying that in the sense of most popular. Like from us, our cultural phenomenon here, Spider-Man's probably more popular. But I mean, in the Marvel Universe of things, like if we were living in the Marvel Universe right now, Tony Stark would be the head guy. You know what I mean? He's the main man. Picking Robert Downey Jr. for the movie was an awesome move. I think because Tony Stark deals with alcoholism and all that, and we know that Robert Downey dealt with it before too. I think it'll bring a sense of realism to the role. Now, just briefly, I want to go through a few of the different costumes that Iron Man has had during the years, or that are relative to the Iron Man story arc. So, just going to do that right now. So we're going to go through a few costumes right here. Here is the initial Iron Man costume from Tales of Suspense number 38. The original Iron Man. Later on, it'll evolve in Tales of Suspense number 48 to the more common gold and red Iron Man, which everybody knows and loves. This is pretty much the look of it today. We also have the Silver Centurion Iron Man, which is actually another stealth version of the suit for high war. Then we have the War Machine costume, which is worn by Mr. Rhodes. Heavily equipped. We then have the Thor Buster Iron Man costume, which is actually designed with the power of Odin and based on the Destroyer costume done to destroy or fight Thor. The Hulkbuster costume is made especially to fight the Incredible Hulk. Very big suit. And the last, and certainly not least, the Ultimate Iron Man costume, which is basically the Iron Man costume for the Ultimate Iron Man series. So that about concludes my Iron Man 101. I mean, there's a lot of story to go through. I mean, this guy's been around since the 60s. He's done a lot in the Marvel Universe. He's a huge key component right now in the Marvel Universe because of the whole Civil War and the whole Avengers thing going on. I hope you enjoyed this 101 class. So take care, guys. Later.